the membership if you've ever heard of the term Lagom. Lagom has been called the Swedish secret to a balanced, happy life. You guys all know me and how I love to talk about positivity and happiness and living life to the fullest. Well, recently in my internet meanderings, I came across this term. Definitely piqued my interest. I learned the word has no direct translation in English. It essentially means that it's not too little, not too much, or it's just right. And in Sweden, it represents the art of living a balanced, slower, fuss-free life. I learned that Lagom pushes us to find our own individual balance and contentment, our own inner peace. That being said, my Lagom is not the same as your Lagom. And we can't measure Lagom and brush it across society in an equal measure. There are some fundamental truths and pillars of this term. And today I'm going to explore my interpretation of Lagom in 3 areas. First, Lagom at work. Second, Lagom in the home. And third, Lagom for well-being. Let's start with work. Did you know that our Scandinavian friends, they look at work, at people that are working overtime as that aren't able to manage their time well? That contrasts with what we think about working late into the evenings and on the weekends in the States. We practically standardize that as the normal. It's not a surprise that our Nordic friends are constantly rated as the top happiest countries in the world, year over year. So what's the takeaway here? Maybe it's time management, giving yourselves breaks to focus on what is essential, to know when to stop unnecessary, superfluous tasks, and find that balance, to find your Lagom. My second pillar of Lagom application is how Lagom translates to the home. Lagom is a way of living in harmony with the environment. Let's talk about ways that we can use Lagom to inspire us at home. I know you've all probably heard of recycling, but have you heard of upcycling? It's essentially taking something that would have been discarded and turning it into something useful. A creative way to reuse trash, if you will. Recycling, upcycling, and using sustainable materials where possible is a way to enjoy the home comforts that you love without taking too much from the planet. Scandinavian architecture and interior design are simply simple. Have you ever been to the Swedish retailer IKEA? Functional, simple, clean lines, and furniture that is made sustainably. Lagom is found with simplicity in mind. When you are looking for something in a busy, messy drawer and you can't find it, it's time to declutter. When you're trying to do your laundry and stuffing things into your closet and it doesn't quite fit, time to declutter. Benefit from the not too much, not too little of Lagom. Upcycling, recycling, and decluttering. These are 3 ways to bring the concept of Lagom home, and they all go hand in hand. Well-being is the 3rd concept, or the 3rd pillar to Lagom. And I think it's absolutely impacted by Lagom. Let's start with eating healthy. That is an important part of well-being. It doesn't only have a positive effect on our mind and our bodies, it can also help the environment too. Sourcing sustainably raised meats and products, they use less resource and have a much smaller carbon footprint. Sustainability is a huge theme when it comes to Lagom. Planning your meals, storing food correctly, thinking you manage food waste, and eating plant-based, this can all help. What also comes to mind is Lagom with desserts and alcohol. Not too little, not too much, just the right amount, and on special occasions.
Natalie, you just went on mute.
I think the host muted me. That is my dog in the background, so I'm sorry about that. So back to Lagom and food and drink. Just one second, let me get my husband to get the dog out. So please don't think that Lagom is meant to be the absence of pleasure from food and drink. It definitely is not about deprivation. Essentially, it's just about portion control and not eating until you're stuffed, but just satisfied, and being moderate with alcohol. While the Swedish term lagom that has entered into our global lexicon might be new to us, there are similar phrases and concepts all around the world and in different cultures, showing us that it's truly a universal idea. And it needs to be. Sustainability is for all of us. We all share the same planet, and we can all make differences, big or small, for the better of all of us if we start living lagom. I'm big on balance, and if there's one thing I learned during my research is that it's never a static thing. Lagom is about moderation, but sometimes what you need in a certain moment to feel balanced is the opposite. I think it was Nate who said, all things in moderation, including moderation. And for full transparency in my research, I uncovered that some Swedes actually think that lagom is boring. And I can see why. Sometimes moderation is just not going to cut it. However, I feel that if we take the right elements of the meaning behind it, we can become more intentional around creating the balance and sustainability we need in our life. To me, lagom seems to be about living a simpler life, living more intentionally in a conscientious manner, and embracing all forms of balance. As we enter this new chapter of this world that we live in, would you consider lagom at work, at home, and for your well-being? I hope so, for the benefit of us all. Madam Toastmaster.